Hello and welcome everybody to day one of the Kickstart challenge. Thank you so much for being here. Very excited. Over the next 5 days, we're going to be working together to build the best possible business for you in 2019 that you can. So it doesn't matter if you're brand new to jewelry making and you're just starting a business, or whether you've been doing this for years and years. We're all going to work together to plan out our year together, which I think is really exciting. And we've got, I think the last time I checked, somewhere between 800 and 900 of you joining in. So we'll probably have about 1,000 by the end. So just think of that, the power of 1,000 jewelers all working on their businesses together. I think that that's an incredible thing. So well done for you to start with, for just joining and taking part and putting the time aside to do this. And each day, so a little bit on how it works, you'll get an email with all the notes for that day. We've kept them fairly short and to the point so that you guys can just go ahead and get on with it, and it's not going to take too much of your time. But then you'll get an email with all the notes and you'll get the worksheets. And I'm also going to be here doing a live each evening at this time, 8 p.m, throughout the week until Thursday. So if you can't make the lives, don't worry, because we'll save all the recordings in the Facebook group as well, so you guys can come back and watch them if you need to. But if you are here with me, either on the live or watching it later, do come and say hello. Just say a hi, just so that I know who you are. And if you want to tell me where you're watching it from, that would be really great as well, because I'd love to see where everyone's based and where they're from around the world. And finally, if you have a link to anything to do with your jewelry business, so whether it's your website or your Instagram or your Facebook, just one link that we can all come and follow you and learn more about you, because this is always a great opportunity for us to connect with each other as well, not just me, but with all the other jewelers in the community. So already you've got a task. So say hello, let us know where you're from, and share a link if you have one. If you don't have one yet, that's absolutely fine. Just come and say hi anyway, so I know who is taking part. So today is all about you and your vision. And I think this is a great way to kick off a challenge, is to really evaluate who you are, what you want from your business, and what your vision is for the future. So for today's task, I want you to put aside the idea of 2019 and think more just about the future in general. I know it can be scary. In fact, today, if you're not scared by today's task, then you're not doing it right. So it's meant to be pushing you outside of your comfort zone, thinking about new things. And the task is to write down your vision for your jewelry business. Now, there's no right or wrong way to do this. A vision is normally quite short. Sometimes it's just a sentence. It can be a bit longer if that's helpful to you. And it's what you want to achieve from your jewelry business in the long term, or what you dream of. And I think a really good exercise, which I've put in the challenge, is to ask yourself the question, if you could do anything in your jewelry business and there's no way that you could fail, what would you do? So often we hold ourselves back by fear or sort of worrying about different things that could go wrong. So I want you to just get rid of all of that just for today and ask yourself, okay, what would you do? Would you write a book? Would you open up a jewelry school? Would you want to sell a collection in Liberties? Would you want to make only diamond engagement rings and not do any more repairs? Would you want to sell your beaded work all over the world? What is it that, you know, and forget about logistics, forget about fear, because I know that they come in. We're not dealing with those today. Today it's all about the big picture, the big dream. And I almost, and this is personal to me, I almost think it doesn't matter whether you actually achieve this dream or not, but just knowing it and that it inspires you, and that it's something that you don't even have to share it with anyone, but something that really excites you, that you think, actually, if I could do that, that would be beyond my wildest dreams. It's very powerful to know what that is and to have it, just so that it kind of, you know, on those difficult days when you're feeling uninspired or you're not sure, it's something you can go back to and look at and say, okay, actually, I've got a vision here. I've got something that I'm working towards. Even if I don't reach it, I'm going to go for it. And of course, we hope you do reach it as well. So that's what today is all about. So try the task of what would you do if there was no fear, because that just helps get you out of the mindset that we're often in day to day. And another task, which I sometimes do when I'm helping people write their visions, is to just brainstorm words. So words that inspire you and relate to your jewelry business. So it might be materials, it might be shops you want to be in, it might be things like being at home with your family, or you know, having freedom to work for yourself. And don't be afraid to include money in your vision as well, if that's part of it, you know. So not just running a jewelry business, but running one that supports you and pays your mortgage and does all the things that perhaps you're worried would never happen. I find that with jewelers, a lot of the ones that I work with, not saying running a jewelry business is easy, but a lot of what holds us back is thinking that we can't do it, or thinking that it will just be too hard, or it's too saturated, and all of these things can hold us back. So as I said, just for today, get rid of them, throw them out the window, and think about what is your vision, what inspires you. So if you are up for the challenge and going to write yourself a vision, I just want you to write a comment below just saying 100%. 100% I'm going to do it, and I'm going to commit to it. And if you're a different percent, you can put a different percent, but we're going for 100. Hopefully there won't be any zeros. So yeah, I'd like you to put that just so that I know that you're doing it. And it's a good way to write a comment somewhere public, because then it's kind of saying to yourself like, yes, I'm going to actually do this, spend a bit of time, think about it, and write it out. As I said, it should scare you. So don't, you know, if you've written something that's a little bit just carrying on as I am, go back and put something a little bit more exciting, because the point of your vision is to inspire you and to push you forwards and to really get you going, because it's a bit like that idea of shoot for the stars and you'll get some. I'm not sure of the quote, but we want to aim high, even if, you know, it's not all 100% achievable. Do not worry about logistics for today. We're going to get into that. Don't worry. We're going to be looking at all of those different things. And I wanted to share with you actually a little bit of what's in one of the notes for today. This is the vision triangle, something I call the vision triangle. But essentially, it's how I think about my goals and my actions and my routine and how it all fits together. So a vision isn't just something that we write down and then we kind of, it's just airy fairy dream world and then we forget about it, but it actually directs pretty much everything that we do. So at the top of the vision triangle, we have our vision. There's just one of those. It's something exciting. It's something inspiring. We might have money in there. We might have numbers in there if we want to reach lots of people. We might have countries in there. Whatever it is, that's there. And then throughout the week, we're going to be working down. So it all starts here. We're going to be working down through the triangle. So we're going to be working on goals tomorrow, and goals are a little bit more practical. So we're going to take that vision and those ideas that you've had from day one, and we're going to be looking at how can we create some growth goals for you to, wherever you're at, to push you to the next stage. And we're not going to have too many goals. I'm going to limit you, but I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. Then we're going to be looking at your actions and your plans. So we take those goals and we break those down into action points that you can actually do. So I think what a lot of people worry about with goals and visions is it's a little bit too airy-fairy and what will I actually do? So we're actually taking the wide open strategy and then bringing it into the daily and the weekly. So then that brings us on to the daily and weekly routine. So we want everything to relate. What we're doing day to day, we want to check back with ourselves. Does that relate to what my vision is and what my goals are? And we're going to try and make sure that we keep that all in check for you this year. So you've got a real strategy going forwards. And I think that is all that I needed to say for today. So if you haven't signed up, make sure you sign up. If you've signed up, check your emails. And you can also check in the Teachable, in the courses area, because you'll have like a nice download with an area to put your vision and everything like that. What I would say with this challenge, like all of our courses, take what's useful to you and leave the rest. So if there's anything that you feel doesn't fit with your business, that's absolutely fine. Just do what's going to work for you. And I will see you same time tomorrow when we're going to be talking about goals. I'll also be online in the Facebook group and on Instagram throughout this week. So do come and talk to me and my team. And if you have any questions about setting your vision or anything, you start doing it and you think, oh, I'm a bit stuck, come and tell us, come and share with us. Don't be shy. There's hundreds of jewelers who are in the same boat. So they'll probably be saying, yeah, me too. I'm really stuck, or I'm scared, or whatever. So we can help encourage each other. Brilliant. All right. Well, good luck with your visions. Just good luck with your visions. And I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow evening as well. Have a wonderful rest of the day. And I can't wait to see what you guys do. All right. Bye for now. Hello and welcome everyone to day 2 of the Kickstart challenge, which is one of the most exciting days because it's all about setting your goals for growth. Now, growth goals aren't just any goals. They're goals that are going to make sure that you grow in your jewelry business. So grow your profits, grow your income, grow your sales, and also grow in all the different ways that you want to grow. So we're not just talking about setting goals and doing activity, but it's really exciting when you change it a little bit and think about strategically, okay, we're going to be using these to really build our business and make a difference. So if you're excited about setting goals and would like to learn how to set goals that help you to grow, which we're going to talk about in this short video, then put an emoji of choice, your favorite emoji, in the comments so that I know how you feel, how excited you are about setting goals for growth. And if you're really excited, you might put more than one emoji in there. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, goal setting can be scary. Some people love it, some people hate it. It's a bit like Marmite. And normally the reason why people dislike goal setting is because they've done it before, haven't reached the goals that they wanted to, and then feel demotivated by that, or perhaps you feel overwhelmed by just too much to do. So I always say there's a sweet spot when you're setting goals. On one end of the spectrum, you put it way too high and there's far too many goals and you're totally overwhelmed in your business and you're just thinking, I can never do this, and you almost get paralyzed by that. So that we don't want to do. We're going to avoid that with our goal setting. The other end of the spectrum is where we're not specific enough. The goals are a bit woolly and then we get a little bit lost. So thinking back to our triangle of vision at the top, and you guys have done an amazing job with your visions today. So well done on that. Then our goals. And then it's feeding down into action plans and feeding down into your daily and weekly routine. Now, it's very hard to structure your daily and weekly routine if your goals aren't clear. So you start to see the real importance of goals and how they're sandwiched between visions and your actions to make it all work as part of our strategy. So we're going to set some good goals in the middle. So that's in between overwhelm and being a little bit lost and unsure of what to do is the sweet spot of where we want to put our goals. And the way that we do that is, first of all, we don't set too many goals. So your task for today is to set between 3 and 5 goals for your business for this year. And I don't go over 5 and I wouldn't go under 3 because that's just a really nice number to make it achievable, to make it something that's going to push you a little bit, but that's also not going to be, you know, if you've got 10 goals, it's very, very difficult to reach all of those. So we want to keep it nice and focused. And if there's one thing that you really want to focus on this year, and we'll talk about this a bit more in a minute, but that's a great strategy as well, to have like a really core solid focus for the year. And then we can break that down into your goals and how we'll actually make that happen for you. So it's all about being strategic. So you want to write down the goals that are going to make a difference. So when you're thinking of your goals, keep in mind your business, keep in mind what stage you're at, what's worked so far, what hasn't, and where you see it going. So that's where yesterday's work will really come in, is what was the vision, what did you want, what was most important for you, and how can we bring that into the goals to make sure that they're going to get you going in the direction that you want to go in. Now, the next thing with your goals is we want to make sure we know how we can measure them. So for example, if you want to grow your Etsy sales this year, instead of putting as a goal, I want to grow my Etsy sales, be a bit more specific. How much do you want to grow them by? Do you want to do it by a percentage? So if you sold 50 items this year, do you want to sell 100 next year? Or do you want to do it by, well, that's numbers. So percentage would be 100% more. So however it works for you in terms of your brain thinking about it, it doesn't matter. These goals are for you and not for anyone else. But you want to make sure that you're very specific so you know when you've hit that target. And if the target feels really safe and really easy, then push yourself a little bit to make it a little bit more, because we want these goals to stretch you, not to overwhelm you, but to stretch you. So whatever you think you can do, go a bit further, because even if you don't reach that target, having that goal, you know, will be a real good motivator for you and to push you in your day-to-day working. So we want to make sure we can measure them. We want to make sure they're specific, and we want to make sure that they're focused. So depending on what stage you're at with your business, the first year or two, it's quite a good idea to experiment with different things. Try Etsy, try a website, try craft fairs, try doing commissions. I call those the experimental years, because we're new to everything. We're new to business. We're often still honing our craft as well. So we're just exploring the landscape, working out what we enjoy doing, what we don't like in our business, and also where we want to take it. After that point, and you know, for some people it's sooner than that, for some people it's later, but roughly after that point, we really want to grow. We might have some sales under our belt, but actually want to take it full time, or we want to increase the income we get from it so that we feel supported by our business. And in order to do that, the key strategy is to focus on one thing at a time. So if you're trying to wholesale and you're trying to build your Etsy and you're trying to create your website and you're trying to start teaching, all of these things in 1 year, what's going to happen is you might make a bit of progress on each one, but we often feel disheartened because we feel like none of them are really making money for us. None of them are really growing. So what I would encourage you to do if you're at that stage in your business is to pick a strand of growth. And this is the same across all businesses. If you're trying to grow too many areas at once, what happens is they all just grow a little bit and it kind of feels a bit flat. So what we want you to do is to really focus on something. Pick that thing you're going to focus on. If it's wholesaling, then just do that this year. Just focus on that and really grow it. And remember that there are future years in your business. It can be easy to forget that there are other years. So just because you're saying no to things now, and this is a really important part of goal setting as well, is to work out what you're saying no to. And sometimes that's really hard because there might be an opportunity that you think, oh, that's so exciting, I'd love to do it. But question whether it's the right thing to do, because if it's not going to grow your business, if it's not going to increase the income, which is what most people want to do in their business, then perhaps you don't need to do it at all, or perhaps you can wait a couple of years. So think about the long term and don't be afraid to turn things down. You know, if you've decided you want to grow your Etsy, that may mean doing less craft fairs. It may mean not building a website. It may mean really focusing on that, building out the SEO in your Etsy, growing something like your Instagram to feed into it, because I've chosen Etsy as an example. So it's a good opportunity just to say that Etsy is not a platform that is going to promote you. So this is something that comes up time and time again. And I think it's really important to just be really aware of it, that Etsy is like a website platform. That's all it is. It's a place to put your work, but it is entirely up to you as a jeweler to promote that. When Etsy first started, it was a little bit different. It was quite a fresh platform and people could just find you on there. Now it's got so many people on it. It's still great to go on because, you know, it's an easy platform. It's easier than starting a website. But if you're on any of those kind of third-party platforms, all they are is a parking place, a place to put your jewelry. And it's up to you to do the driving to get people there. So I would use something like your Instagram or a blog or whatever works for you to drive people to that. I know that's a little bit specific. You guys will have different goals. But while I was talking about it, it seemed relevant to bring it up. So focus, if you're really growing, if you're really going for growth and you've done all the groundwork, because I know that there are people at different stages, then choose a form of growth and put all of your goals towards it. I know it's a bit scary, but it is a really good strategy because it means that you're actually going to do that. Same with social media. If you're trying to post every day on Instagram and Facebook and blogging and YouTube and everything, it's often too much to do within 1 year. So focus on one thing. For most jewelers, that's Instagram, because it's where everyone is, and really dedicate yourself to it. To grow a social media platform for your business and an audience, I would recommend being on there an hour a day. I know it's a lot, but that is how you really grow something, is by giving it your all. So a little bit preachy there, sorry, but that is something I feel passionate about, because I hate seeing jewelers put loads of work into loads of different areas and not really getting any results. And I know how frustrating that can be, because you're working really hard. It's not a lack of work, but it's what it is. It's an incorrect strategy, or a very difficult strategy to grow. So hopefully that focus will really help with your growth goals. So just a quick reminder, make sure you, while you're doing your goals, perhaps even write down or just make a mental note of what you're not going to do this year, because it can be very hard as you get into the year and opportunities pop up and you think, oh, I could do this and I could do that. You know, having the discipline to say, actually, no, I said I was going to focus on this, so I'm really going to go for that. Strategy is really important to a jewelry business. So often we can think, because we work in something creative and because we love jewelry, that the strategy is not, you know, we think that we can't do strategy because we're jewelers. But I think that all of that is rubbish. We are wonderful people who are great business people as well. And if we're not, we're going to get there. So, you know, everyone was a beginner once, whatever they're doing. So this is something that you can completely do. And I have 100% faith in you. So please do feel that. And, you know, for those of you that have been running a business for a few years, because I've seen some of the goals and the things that people have been talking about in the Facebook group already throughout the challenge, I always say to people, it normally takes at least 3 years in any business, including a jewelry business, to make a profit. So please do not feel disheartened if you haven't. If you've been doing it for a year or maybe 2, and you're putting your all in and you're growing your audience and you're putting great content out there and you're building your collections and all of that, it takes time. And it's not you, and it's not your jewelry, and it's not even necessarily what you're doing, but it takes time. So the London Jewelry School, which is the largest business that I've run, took 3 years to turn a profit. So it's having that faith in that time in between, and also keeping, you know, being realistic, making sure you're seeing growth, and if you're not, making changes and adjustments. But please don't feel, if you haven't made a profit in your first year or anything like that, that you won't. It's completely normal in business. So you're probably right where you need to be and doing all the right things. And, you know, if you have questions about what you should do to grow, because it's not always easy when you're working on your own to identify what to do, then ask us, you know, say, you know, ask for more specifics, and we'll do our best to answer them in the Facebook group as well. So I think, I'm just checking my notes, that we have covered everything. But basically, coming back to the task, write down your growth goals. Make sure you check the notes today, because it gives you a kind of format for that. Try and make sure that they are specific and between 3 and 5, so that we're not overwhelming you. And if you feel like you're ready to go and set your growth goals, then put a comment in the comments and let me know that you're going to do it. Say, yes, 100%, I am going to be setting my growth goals. And of course, if you'd like to share any of them, we would love to see them. So, and it helps inspire others as well. So anything that you share is always really welcomed and something that we can all work on together. So thank you so much for joining me for the second live. I will see you tomorrow, same time, and we're going to be talking about, in day 3, the money in your jewelry business. So something really important, not because we all love money, but because money is what keeps us going. So it's what makes us sustainable, and also all the hard work you're putting in, you deserve to make money from your business. So tomorrow we're going to be looking at the numbers and how we can add that into our business strategy and our routine for the year, so that we're not just doing work, but we're actually achieving results as well. Wonderful. Have a lovely evening, and I will see you guys on the Facebook group and on the Instagram, and I really look forward to seeing how you get on with your growth goals. All right, bye for now. Hello there, jewelers, and welcome to day 3 of the Kickstart challenge. Well done for getting this far. Today is all about looking at the money in your jewelry business, which is a really important part of your business. If we're not making money, then it becomes a very expensive hobby, which is not what we want. So today I'm going to be talking about how you can make a living from your jewelry business, and also the tasks that I've set you and the things in the challenge for looking at the money in your jewelry business. Now, there's so much detail that we can go to on this topic, but I've kept it fairly light so that all of us can take part. And if you want more information, feel free to ask any questions. So before we start, I would love you to let me know in the comments how you feel about making money in your jewelry business on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being really not confident, feeling like it's not going to work, you know, full of doubt and not thinking it's going to happen, and with 10 being completely confident and on top of it, and believing in yourself 100%, and probably a lot of us will be somewhere in between. And it would be interesting to see if that changes at all throughout the course of the video. So maybe put 1 at the beginning and I'll ask you again at the end and see if anything changes. So before I get into the practicals of the financial task that we're setting you, the first thing, and what I believe is the most important thing for making money in your jewelry business, is believing that it's possible. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it, and hopefully you'll kind of understand where I'm coming from. So a lot of people think that the biggest challenge facing jewelers is a saturated market, that there's too many people trying to sell jewelry, so it's really hard and we can't make any money from it. But I do not believe that at all. And the people that I work with, a lot of them are going against all of that. And there are many, many people making a living from jewelry in all different ways. So the first thing is that there are millions of different ways to make money from this. And please don't believe anyone, including yourself, who tells you that it's not possible. Because what happens with that kind of mindset is once you start believing it and it sets in, then it's very difficult to really be able to make it happen, because in your heart, you don't believe it's possible. When I first started my jewelry business, I was 19, I think 19, 20, and I had just left my uni course because I wasn't enjoying it. I just left my job and I had no money. Well, I'd saved a bit of money, but I had no future money coming in, and I had no safety net. So I had nothing to fall back on. And I think having a mixture of that kind of drive of I've got to pay the rent this month, I need to make the money come in, combined with this idea in my mind that I knew 100% that jewelry was what I wanted to do, really helped me to believe 100% in myself, and there was no other option. So there's this quote that I really love. I don't know who it's by, and I'm probably going to misquote it because that's what I always seem to do with quotes, but it goes along the lines of that success is the inability to give up. So it's not actually having success after success after success, but it's when the failures come along and the challenges come along, and we've had a bad year, or our business isn't getting off the ground, and we say, but I'm not going to give up, and I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to find a way to make it work. And that was very much my approach when I started. And I see that people who have a similar approach achieve the things that they want to achieve. Now, I don't want you guys to have to feel necessarily the struggle of that. But I think you can give yourself that attitude. I think you can choose to a certain extent to say, this is what I want to do. I'm not looking at other options. This is something I'm 100% committed to, which is why I got you to write the 100% on day 1, to just say to yourself, and also say to, the whole community, that you are committed to this. And I think once you put yourself fully into something, and that doesn't mean leaving a job or anything like that, it doesn't have to be full time, but just giving it your all and saying, I'm going to make this work. Somehow it just does. And it doesn't always work the way that we think it's going to work. I thought I was just going to make and sell jewelry, and I did do that for the first year or 2, but then I started doing teaching and other things, and of course the London Jewellery School came about. So you may not have the path to success or making a living from your jewelry that you think, but there are so many opportunities and different things. So I just wanted to share that with you before we get into the nitty gritty, is to say that I 100% believe in you. And if you 100% believe in yourself, that's going to make such a difference to you being able to make a living from this. So if you've had a challenging time, I do understand business is not easy. No business is easy, no matter what business you look at. It may look easy. People may tell a story that, you know, of success, which is great, but there's always hardship. There's always struggles. And it's that thing of just when the struggles come, saying, this is what I'm doing. I'm making this work. And that's kind of how I see people. That was my story. And that's how I see other people really doing it as well. And that doesn't mean being unwise. So if something's not working, changing and adjusting to the market, and trying out different avenues, having different income streams, whatever. You know, I often say I try things for about 6 months, and if there's no growth in 6 months, then normally I know, okay, I need to change something, I need to adjust. So being wise and making those decisions. So that is a little bit about the mindset around money. But the actual task for today, so the first thing is you'll have a little questionnaire. So essentially we're going to be looking at the figures from last year. If you've just started a business, then it's going to be, there's not going to be any figures. We're just going to kind of do a little bit of guesswork. I mean, all planning is guesswork because we don't know what's going to happen, but we just do our best to guess the best possibility that we think is gonna work for us. So those of you that do have a business already, I'm gonna ask you to look at what your income was from last year. If you find it a struggle to know what your income is, I highly recommend setting up your own business bank account or even a personal account to keep all your business income and outgoings in there, because then it makes it a lot easier to be able to tell what's going on in your business if you've transitioned over from a hobby. So we're going to look at what money's coming. We're also going to look at the profit, because it's not the same thing. So sales, turnover, income, they all mean the same thing. They mean money coming into your business. But of course, we spend money going out. So the profit is what's left at the end after all of that. So we want to look at, was there any profit last year? What was it? And it's a good idea to kind of look at it as a percentage of the income as well, to get an idea of the health of your business. So there's a little bit of exercises in the workbook that are going to help you with that. And I said, it's quite simple. It's not a complex financial spreadsheet or anything. So it's just a light touch to get us going, because it's only January and we've got to make it through the whole year. So we'll take it one bit at a time. Then we're going to have a look at your goals. So going forwards, we're going to have a look at what you want to have coming in your business this year and what you think is achievable, but also a bit of a stretch. So remember, looking back at our growth goals, how are we going to grow financially this year? And again, I would encourage you to look at turnover or sales as well as profit. So always have those two figures in mind. There are more figures we can add, but if we just start with those basic two, that can really be a great starting point. Then, as well as your sales, I want you to have a look at what you sold in your business last year. What items sold the most? What are your best sellers? And also, what items do you make the most from? Because there are some pieces that you'll make where you'll have more profit and other pieces where there's less. So you might sell some kind of bread and butter pieces, and perhaps there's not a lot of margin in those because you're just getting people interested in your jewelry. And then you might have more of the high end pieces which have a lot more margin, for example. So it's working out what is actually making you money in your business, because selling jewelry doesn't necessarily make you money. You can sell things and buy things and sell things and buy things, and there's nothing left at the end. So we want to be really wise about this and look at, okay, it doesn't matter what happened last year. It's just interesting to note and to understand it, and then to just move it gradually more towards where we want to go. Another thing that I'd like you to do, and this isn't actually Actually, I think it is in the challenge, but whether it is or not, I'd like you to do it, which is to set yourself a long-term income goal. So a long-term income goal and a long-term profit goal. So this is when you are at the stage that you want to be at in your jewelry business, which might be in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, tomorrow. what would be your ideal? So what would be your ideal sales overall? So let's say it's £100,000. You want to make, you want to bring in £100,000 a year, and you want to make £40,000 of that as profit. It might be half of those figures, it might be a quarter, it might be double all those figures, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But it's really good to have in mind, in your mind, what the end game is. So this is like, we set our vision in day one for our business. This is like setting our financial vision. So it's just putting it out there. It's just saying, okay, this is where I want to be one day. And there's no pressure to achieve that right now, but it's good for you to know, and it's good to have that in your mind. So I'd encourage you to set your money vision as well. Another thing in the tasks, it sounds like a lot, but they're all quite short little exercises, is to set yourself a simple budget for the year. So far we've talked about money coming in. Budget is money going out. So what are you going to spend money on this year? And roughly, again, it's all guesswork. And if you're new, I know it's harder, but just give it a try because it's better than nothing. What are you going to spend monthly, and what are you going to spend annually on your materials, on your website? And this again will relate to your growth goals. So if you've said as part of your growth goal you're going to create a website this year, have a little look, do a little bit of research and look into how much is that going to cost you, and how much are you going to spend on it, or how much are you going to spend on branding or photography, or is this year all about creating new products and launching new collections? How much are you going to spend on that? And it's just, again, keeping it really simple, just a rough ballpark of what you think you're going to spend. And then we can kind of compare that with what you'd like to get in and make sure that you're aiming for the right place where you're going to get profit. Or perhaps there are some years in business where we say, this year I'm not going to make profit, and I accept that because I'm investing and I'm spending out, but there's a long-term goal with that. So it's always about making wise decisions with your money and making conscious decisions. So it's my belief that hope and wishing has nothing to do with a successful jewelry business. It's all to do with planning, making a clear strategy, pulling it through, and if it doesn't work, adjusting it and creating a new one. So we have some control over what's going to happen, which is a positive thing, I think. So we're going to look at last year, we're going to look at this year's goals, and we're going to look at setting your budget. We have kept everything really simple. If you would like to go deeper with any of these things, and you want to learn about proper budgeting and financial forecasting and how to do accounts in your business, that is all covered in our Jewellery Business Bootcamp course. So that's inside the membership now, which is very exciting. So if you're a member, you can go ahead and look at that if you want to delve deeper with your finances, particularly if you're further along in business and you want to kind of really get into growth and looking at everything in a more analytical way. If you're not a member, we do have an offer on membership at the moment. So I'll put the details of that below, but it's essentially it's $499 for the year. And at the moment, if you join before the end of January, we have a special offer in January, it's $365. So it is reduced, but you need to use the code Jan 2019 when you check out, and that's all capital letters. But we'll put the details below so you have them. So if you'd like to join as a member, of course, we'd love to have you, and we'll delve deeper in. There's lots of things in membership. In membership, you have access to all of our resources. So all the jewelry making courses that we release, all the ones we've got so far, and all the new ones coming, and also the boot camp and lots of business courses as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask about that. But back to today, looking at your financial goals, that is essentially what I want you to do. So I asked you at the beginning, your kind of scale of 1 to 10 of, how confident you feel that this is what you're going to do in your jewelry business, and you're going to make money, and it's going to work for you. So I don't expect you all to be at a 10, but if you are, that's amazing. Or perhaps if you just moved a little bit further forward, then let me know. Let me know if you feel any more confident, if this has helped at all with moving that. Because I actually think, all the work that we do on our financial figures, it's really useful. It is useful to do all the practical stuff. But what I've noticed from working with jewelers for years and years and hundreds of different jewelers in their jewelry business, is that this confidence around money and this fear that because it's jewelry and we're told it so much, you know, there's a whole YouTube phenomenon about I'm making jewelry now and it's kind of a joke, and that's how I was to my friends and family when I first started out. So I understand the kind of the feelings, and when you're first starting out, it is hard because it is a crowded marketplace, but that does not mean that you can't find your space and your audience. It just takes time, like I was saying yesterday. So hopefully that's helped. If you have any questions relating to money, anything in your jewelry business, please feel free to ask away, because I'm on the Facebook group every day this week, and so are my team. So we're here to help out, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I think I've covered everything for today, and I will see you tomorrow when we'll be looking at action planning in your jewelry business. So we're going to be taking your growth goals and kind of putting them down into actions. So just a little heads up that that day, which is actually on Thursday, may take a little bit more time than the other days. So action planning can take a bit of time, so actually scheduling everything in. So if you can, put aside slightly more time on that day, but we try and keep it nice and brief so it's totally manageable for you. Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here and for listening. I will see you in the Facebook group and on Instagram. Best of luck with setting your money goals for tomorrow. Come back and share with us how you get on with those, any fears, any exciting things, any kind of things that change for you, any light bulb moments. Come and share them, because we'd love to hear about them. And I will see you on tomorrow's session, same time, 8 p.m. All right, bye for now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to day 4 of the Kickstart Challenge. Well done for making it this far. Congratulations. And today is all about action planning, which is one of my favorite parts of the challenge, because action planning is looking at those growth goals that we set on day 2. So the goals that you want to achieve throughout the year, and breaking them down into actions and plans to really make them happen. And the reason why they're exciting is because they're the bit that a lot of people miss. So often we'll set a goal for ourselves at this time of year and say, I really want to achieve this year, but we won't really hone down into how we're going to do it and the actions we're going to take. And then we wonder why it didn't happen. Or we get demotivated or frustrated with ourselves because there's too much hoping and wishing. So we're taking away chance a little bit, and as much as we possibly can, and we're focusing on the actions and planning them out and making sure that we can make them work for us. So I think it's very exciting because it has lots of potential and lots of opportunity, and hopefully you will feel the same way too. So well done for all the work you've put in so far, because I've been seeing some of the bits of pieces of planning that you guys have done, and it's been amazing. There's been some incredible stuff, some very beautiful handwriting as well. I'm very impressed with that too. So the task for today, well, before I get into the task, the kind of going back to our pyramid. So hopefully everyone's seen the pyramid diagram that we're kind of working from this week. I'll post it in the link below as well, just so that you've got a visual of it. But we looked on day 1 at the top of the pyramid, which is the vision. And the vision is the why. So it's kind of why we're doing everything, what excites us about our business, where we want to go. Then we go down a step and we look at the goals. So that was our growth goals on day 2. And that's kind of, so we did the why, and then that's kind of the what. What do we want to do this year? And then today we did a bit of money in between, because money kind of needs its own space as well to be thought about. And today is all about the how. So how are we going to achieve those things? And I think it's important that we have all of them and they all relate to each other. I think where we go wrong with goal setting and planning sometimes is that we just do parts of the triangle, and it's very difficult to fill it through if we don't have all the different bits together. So today is all about the how, and the task is in 2 parts today. So the first part, and I did warn you it would take maybe slightly longer, so I normally spend a couple of hours on this if I can. If you don't have that amount of time, don't worry, just do what you can, because anything is better than nothing. And you might want to plan out half of your year first. If you're not quite ready to do the second half, that's fine as well. So take it at your own pace and do it how how it works for you. But what we're going to be doing is taking each goal one by one and breaking it down as to how we're going to achieve it, the actions that we're going to take and when we're going to take them. So the first thing I would do is not even worry about when, but just start with what are the actions that you need to take. So for example, if you've said this year that you want to drive more traffic to your website. Let's say you've built your website and you're selling on there, but you want to drive more traffic there. So the first step I would probably look at in that scenario is making the website really the best it can be. So that might be adding some new images, updating the copy. So that would kind of be my first, where I'd start with my actions. And then I would probably go on to how am I going to drive traffic there? So perhaps building my social media, so working on my social media strategy, or I might be wanting to do Facebook ads or Instagram ads if that's not something I've done very much of or I'm new to. So then I might also look at what kind of lead magnet can I put in, what kind of way can I entice people to come to my website from a social media platform, because people are finding it harder to move now. If we're on Instagram, we want to stay on Instagram. If we're on Facebook, we want to stay on Facebook. So we have to work a little bit harder as business owners to encourage people to move over to a website. It's still possible. It's very much possible, but it's just thinking about all those things. And so hopefully you can see, I mean, this is just one example, but you can see how I'm breaking it down into steps. And the more specific you can be with these steps, the better. So instead of saying, perhaps if you're a new business and you want to get your photos done, instead of saying, I'm going to get my photos done, I might say, well, what items am I going to photograph? Am I going to be photographing them, or am I going to hire a photographer? And am I going to be using a model? So the more specific you can be with this, the more chance it's going to happen and the easier it's going to be for you to make it happen. So specific action points from your growth goals. So the first stage is just to write them down. So start with one goal, write down all the actions you need to take. Don't worry if they're lots, that's fine. It's better to know now in the planning stage. And you might, after you've done this with every one of your goals, you might either think you've got too much work for the year, in which case you might need to adjust one of your goals, or you might look at it and think, actually, there's not enough work here for the year, in which case perhaps you can kind of pimp up one of your goals. So you can always change the bits that we've already done and go back if you need to. Then the second part of the task, once you've done all of that, is to map it out into your year. So how we've done this in the notes, if you download the notes, is there's a little box, a little section for each month. So you've got your January box, your February box, your March box, so on and so forth. So what I then do is take each action point and assign it to a month. I don't go more specific than that at this stage. We are going to be looking at your daily and weekly routine tomorrow. And if you want to make it more specific, you can. But I like to just bucket things into months and then deal with the months as they come. So I would go ahead and do that. Also put in if you have any holidays planned, if you've got kids and you're off in the summer, put that in, because what it does is it gives you a really nice overview of your year. You can see which months are crowded. If you're working towards an event like a show or some kind of exhibition, you might want to move some of your other growth goals to work on them more on other months. So it's a nice way to plan out your strategy. If there's any months that look really quiet, you might want to adjust some things. And if there are months that look just super overwhelming and you've got millions of stuff in there, try and move them around so that you don't get on top of yourself with everything. So I hope that makes sense. They're the two parts of the task for today. And whilst it does take time, I promise you it's worth it. This is really where it all comes together. And the feeling that you get once you've done this and you look at your year and you kind of work out what you're going to do is amazing, because you kind of feel super on top of things. And if once you've done all of that, you feel really overwhelmed, which is not unusual, give yourself a bit of a break, have a little, cup of tea or whatever it is that you have to treat yourself when you've done like a nice piece of work. And if you look at it and it does look too full, this is normally my problem. Some people have the opposite. You might need to go in and take some things out. So it's having the discipline as well to say, if there are things that are extras that you're adding on that you don't need to do, now is a good time to, and what I tend to do with those is put them in like a separate box or somewhere, so that if I'm quicker than I thought I would be and I get through everything, then I can go over to those. But what you don't want to do is have just so much stuff that you just are like, I just need to go to bed now because I can't even look at this list. It's too much. We don't want that at all. We want it to motivate you. We want it to inspire you. We want you to feel like it's a bit of a push, like all the other things, but not so much that it's just too much to get done, because we know you have busy lives. You've got other things going on. So it's about making it sustainable growth in your business, because this is a marathon, not a sprint. So we're going to be doing this for the long run. So I hope that has helped. I think they are all the things that I needed to say for today. Do come and say hello in the comments, and I would love you to let me know how you're getting on with the challenge, because it's day 4 now. We're getting towards the end. We've got one more day left tomorrow, and let me know how you get on with the action planning as well, because I would love to hear your experiences. If you are brave enough to share any pictures or any little videos or anything of you guys doing your action plans, I would love to see them. I know on Instagram we've had some sharing of people's diaries and things like that flicking through, but you know, Facebook, we're cool too. We can make it happen too. So if you've got anything to share in the comments below. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, which is the final day. I can't believe how quickly it's gone. And tomorrow we're going to be looking at building in accountability, so and motivation, and also we're going to be looking at your daily and weekly routine, because we find that if we build in those healthy habits into your weekly and daily routine that mean that you have energy, that mean that you are kind of ready to go, then that's going to make sure that all of this really happens as well. And of course, the accountability, because we're not going to let you get away with not doing your growth goals, because we believe in you and you believe in you, and together it's a great kind of combination. So have a wonderful rest of the evening, and good luck with your action plans tomorrow. And I will see you tomorrow evening at the same time, when we'll be finishing off with the accountability and building in that motivation as well. All right, bye for now. Good evening, jewelers, and welcome to day 5 of the Kickstart challenge. First of all, massive congratulations and well done for making it all the way to the end. I can't believe how quickly it has gone. I can't believe we're on day 5 already. It feels like we just started. But you guys have done amazingly. So thank you for taking part. If you've enjoyed the challenge and you've enjoyed being part of it, put an emoji in the comments so that I know that you have made it all the way to day 5 and that you've found it useful for your jewelry business. It'd be interesting to see what emoji you choose as well. An emoji of choice. I'm a big fan of emojis at the moment. Don't know why. Very visual person. So today is all about building in accountability and motivation into your business. So we're looking at the bottom part of the triangle that we've been working with the whole week. So we've looked at your vision, we've looked at your goals, we've broken them down into action plans, we've looked at your financials. You guys have done a lot this week. So well done for making it all the way to the end. But this part is really, really crucial as well. So this is where it kind of all comes together, because we have our plans now, and if you haven't finished them, don't worry, you've still got time. But we have our plans, we have our goals, we know what we need to do, and now it's about putting the action in and making it happen. So this is a really exciting part of the challenge, because we actually kind of end a challenge and start doing stuff and start making things happen in your business and start getting results. So all of that hard work can start paying off. So the task for today is, the first part of the task is to look at either your daily or your weekly routine. I've put in the worksheet just a basic outline of how to plan out your weekly routine. Some people prefer to do daily, some people prefer weekly, some people do both. I plan out my weekly routine, and I'll explain kind of how I do that and how I would encourage you to do it. And in the daily routine, I kind of have in my head more than written down, but if it helps you to write it down, then go ahead and do that too. So what do I mean by writing down our routines? Well, routines are like a structure. So there are kind of 3 core things that help build in accountability and motivation in our business. There's structure, which is what we're going to be talking about first, which is this daily and weekly routine. There's community and mentorship. So other people, involving other people and getting supported, whether it's through peers or through people who've done what you need to do before. And the final one is training, which is a great way to motivate yourself, inspire yourself, and push yourself forwards. So these are the kind of the three core things we're going to be talking about. But the first one is structure. So this is why we're doing the daily routine, because when things are going a little bit tricky in your business, which always happens at some point, there'll be highs, there'll be lows, there'll be more highs, there'll be in the middles. The structure in the routine is what keeps you just working through it all, going steady, not being too fazed by anything, and just knowing what you have to do. So you never have those days where you wake up and you're like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? What am I doing today? Am I making? Am I this? Am I that? So having a bit of a routine. And how I do that is, first of all, I'd map out what days I'm working. So are you working full time on your business? Are you working part time? In fact, it'd be interesting to know in the comments, if you're working full time, if you put an A in the comments, and if you're working part time, if you put a B in the comments, and if you're working full time on something else and you're just trying to find bits of time and you're making it work in evenings and weekends and things, then put a C. It's just be interesting to know in this group and people that are doing the challenge where you guys are at. But in your weekly routine, you want to map out the hours that you're working in your business. So just because you're working for yourself, it doesn't mean you want to work every single hour. And in fact, I would encourage you never to put, if you can, unless it's like a super special occasion, never put more than 8 hours in a row of solid work together. Because, as I said the other day, we're in this for the long run. So we don't want you to get burnt out. I know how exciting it can be when you're running a business. And I know, because I've been there, I have worked the 16-hour days, 7 days a week, and it made me really unwell. So I would definitely encourage you not to do that, and to think about looking after yourself whilst making these plans in your jewelry business, so that you are having an amazing business, but also happy and have time with people that you love, and have time for massages and have time for whatever it is that you enjoy in your life. So I go through my week and I schedule out, okay, these are my hours. For me, I've got a young toddler at home, so I've got to schedule all that in. So I know a lot of you guys have different commitments going on, but actually I find the hardest can be if you have no commitments, because you then say to yourself, well, I could work anytime. And I would encourage people in that position to put some boundaries in and to say, this is the hours that I'm going to be working. So that's the first stage, is working out your hours. Then work out just very roughly on a general week. It's going to change from week to week what you're going to be doing each day. So is there a certain time when you're going to do your admin and your emails, or a certain time of the day? So this is where the daily weekly thing comes in. For some people, there'll be a day a week that they do with their emails. For other people, it might be a certain time each day. When are you going to do your social media? If you're on social media, that can take up quite a big chunk of your time. So scheduling that in. When are you going to have time to be really creative and not think about any business stuff and just make? And when are you going to have time to do marketing? So for me, this doesn't have to be rigid at all. It's just in a typical week, if I've got nothing unusual going on, there's no events, there's no nothing that's out of the ordinary, this is what it would look like. And that's a really useful thing to just pin up on your wall, so that if you ever get stuck, or you feel like, I don't know what I'm working on, or I've got too much to do or too little to do, you can come back to your weekly planner and say, okay, this is a general week. So if all else fails, I'll do this. And that's still building towards your goals. And I encourage you to think about your goals and your action plans within this, and perhaps even schedule a bit of time each week to work specifically on a goal. And it depends on what it is exactly your goals are. But this is the last piece of the puzzle, if you like. This is how we're going to make it happen and do the actions each day. So have a go with that task and let me know how you get on. Feel free to share any of your bits and pieces. I haven't encouraged you guys to share too much, because I know that when you're making plans and things, sometimes you want to keep them to yourself. But if you're open to sharing, please do share. I'd love to see them. I've seen some of the kind of little bits of writing and bits and pieces here, and it's just nice to see what you guys are getting up to. So thank you for sharing those. So that's one of the tasks. Then the next part of today is about accountability. So that's kind of the structure, the routine, getting all of that in tow. Accountability is something that we often don't think about in our business until it's too late. And then we think, oh, I haven't really achieved my goals this year, and we can beat ourselves up about it. But you can't do all of this on your own. You can do it on your own, but it's useful to have some support, and it's fun. It's more fun. It's way more fun if you're part of a community and you've got people that you can bounce ideas off. So accountability will look different for everyone. For some people, it might be having a mentor or a one-to-one person that they can speak to once a month or however often. If you are doing that, make sure you choose someone who you really respect and value. Friends and family as mentors can be challenging. It can work, but it can be challenging. So choose somebody who you think is going to have a really impartial view on your business, but is also going to be able to support you. Sometimes, as we've done in the past, we've buddied people up in part of our bootcamp program. When we ran it live, we partnered jewelers to be buddies, and they kind of co-mentored each other. So that's sometimes something you can do, is ask another jeweler who's at maybe a similar level to you, would you like to like co-mentor each other? That's one way to build in accountability. And then of course there's groups like this one. I mean, Jewelers Academy, as you can probably guess, this is what we're all about. We're all about the motivation and accountability and the training. So we try and give you guys as much of the most kind of latest up-to-date support and business training, so that you know what things are going to help in your jewelry business and what actions you can take. And the communities like this one, there's also tons of other communities on Facebook, but obviously we're biased. We think ours is amazing and we'd love you to stay part of it after the challenge as well. And for us, of course, we have our membership program, which is a kind of a smaller group, a group of people who are really dedicated to working on their jewelry business. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that towards the end of the session as well today, because if you're thinking about signing up as a member, then it's very much open to you, and it's something that is a great follow-on from the Kickstart challenge, so that we can work together. If you've enjoyed this and you'd like to continue working with me and all the other jewelers and the other tutors, it's a really nice way to follow on. So other ways to stay accountable are, you can do some of it yourself. So weekly check-ins is something that I like to do. Normally I do it on a Sunday afternoon or evening, is I'll just have a little kind of just like a 10-15 minutes with myself and say, okay, what am I doing for the next week? Schedule out the next week. Not really intensely, but just at a high level, so that I know, okay, these are the different bits and pieces that I'm going to be working on for the next week. And we do this with the members as well. We do on Monday, we always ask, what is your intention for the week? What are you hoping to get done this week? What are your goals? And then on the Friday, we look at the wins. So what have you managed to achieve? What are you really proud of? And I think sometimes this is good to do as part of a group, because a little bit of healthy competition as well is good. If you see other people doing things and you're like, oh, they did that this week, that's amazing. Okay, great. I could do that as well. So we spur each other on, which I think is also a really nice way. So I'd encourage you, as part of the task today, to think about how you are motivated and what keeps you accountable, because I do think it's slightly different for everyone. Some people find that they need that one-to-one support. Some people it's part of the community. Some people it's both. And then taking some time throughout the next, couple of weeks or so to make sure you actually build accountability in whatever that looks like for you, because it may feel like an additional bit of work, but it could be the thing that makes all the difference with your business. Because I know that working as jewelers, we're often working on our own. It's quite solitary work, and we're not all solitary people. Sometimes we like to get out and talk to people and to kind of have that feeling part of something bigger. So I would encourage you to build that in for the long-term success of your business as well. The final thing I wanted to talk about is training. So training is something I'm very passionate about, obviously, having started the London Jewellery School, because I was obsessed with courses myself. So I just thought, well, I may as well create somewhere where there's tons of them, because otherwise I'm just going to do them all the time anyway. So training, if you're ever feeling kind of stuck in a rut, or you want to move forwards with your business more, training in either jewelry or in business skills is a really great investment in yourself. And I think you'll probably know this, having done courses in the past, that whenever you come out of a good training course, you feel so inspired, there's new techniques that you know about. And even if you don't use all of those in your jewelry business, just the energy that you get from that and the inspiration of a great teacher teaching you and encouraging you, and, you know, you taking inspiration and for your designs and all of that. I think that definitely building in training, whether it's with us or someone else, building in training throughout the year is something that all jewelers, in my opinion, should be doing. And if you're an incredible jeweler and you've practiced jewelry for many, many years and you feel like you've kind of reached a level you're not looking to train at the moment, then do some business training, because that is, you know, equally, if not more important for your jewelry business. And just a little bit about my background. I love jewelry, but I love business as well. And so I've done lots of training courses in business, and I've done a mini MBA, which was an incredible experience. And I love learning how big businesses do things. I love learning the things that they teach to MBA students and people who are, you know, kind of can afford that kind of thing, and then talking about it with jewelers, because, you know, all those techniques, all those tools, all those strategies, they work for any kind of business. And because jewelry is my passion, this is what I really love doing. And that's what we try and do, you know, in the groups in general, but also inside the membership, and really building that out. And inside the membership at the moment, I promise I will stop talking about it in a minute, because a lot of you guys are members already, and you'll know all of this, but hopefully I'm inspiring you to go and look at some new things in the membership, is the Jewelry Business Bootcamp, which is our 8-week flagship course, which we ran for 2 years in a row. We ran it as a live. We're not running it as a live at the moment because we want to focus on the membership, but all of the resources are in there. And it's more aimed at jewelers who have been in business for a while and are looking to really grow. You can take it if you're new as well, but it goes on to some quite advanced techniques around wholesaling, around building out a team, around marketing and finance and all of that. So check it out if you're interested. But whatever you do, the task for today is to build in some motivation, accountability, and structure into your business so that all this work that you've been doing so far is really going to pay off. So I think I'll leave it there for today, but thank you so much for taking part. I hope you've enjoyed the challenge as much as I've enjoyed looking at what you guys have been doing and taking part in it. And I will see you around on the group. I'm always in this group, and I'm always in the membership group. And I look forward to seeing your jewelry businesses flourish and grow throughout 2019. So have a wonderful year, and I will see you very soon. All right, bye for now.